Welcome to Framework Fortune and welcome back Framework Fortune community. I'm your host Ben and we got a co-host H&H Trader Hal in the house tonight. What's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, man. Just weekends, getting my rest, getting my mental back up. You know, last week was a rough week, but it was still a green week, so
Yeah, it
all
was
good.
a very choppy week and I ended up red on the week. Not too bad, so not a big deal. I'm ready to come back on Monday and kill it. But it's time for the last rip, where we take a look at NASDAQ top gainers on the day, recap any trades we took, and see if there's any trades for the following day. Of course, this is the weekend episode of the last rip, so we don't know what's going to happen on Monday. So we'll pretty much just be recapping some trades and looking at some crazy stuff that happened in the market. So let's not waste any time and dive right in. The DIA, or as we're now calling it, the DIE, because it is similar to the SPY, and it's a lot easier to say the DIE than DIA, and that's what it's called now. So if you hear us say that, that's what we're referring to. But you can see, it opened up pretty strong on Friday there, and then just dumped off and sold off the rest of the day. But it still looks good. I mean, it still looks like it's going to run.
Yeah, it only lost $1 in aftermarket, so it still got bullish sentiment.
So how you traded CVV, and this was actually a fantastic call out. Hal was talking about this in pre-market, had no volume whatsoever, and it did have PR. They received a production system order from a major company for $1.7 million, so they got some money. Anytime a
Yep.
company gets some money, they're going to usually go up in price. But yeah, Hal called this one early. This was a great call.
Yeah, so I saw this one in pre-market kind of stabilizing there, flatlining, and then I saw the PR. I think I got in right in there, 300 shares. And then closer to the open, I added another 100
In this
on that
dip.
little drop off. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So then, yeah, I
So,
mean, you caught that right as the butter was getting slathered on the biscuit. Perfect trade.
yep.
Perfect, beautiful trade. No volume to a volume pop of buying there.
Yeah. I did trade it again in the afternoon on that second rip up and made a little bit more
This one
in the
here,
afternoon, but I got in right at the bottom of that candle.
right there.
Yep. Caught
Nice.
that whole move.
I got in here opposite of you. This was a day where I was obviously being dumb and you were being smart. Because you got in at a great entry. I end up buying in right up here in the middle of this rip. It was looking like it was going to try to push after this little indecision candle. And it did get up to like 545, but that was only like 10 cents, so it wasn't what I was looking for. And then it came down and consolidated, and it was in this triangle, so I was holding it. And then on this candle right here, this little guy here, this little indecision fellow, that the price of the stock was never that low, hit my stop loss. It came down, wicked below all these other candles, and wicked me out before it ran
Yeah.
up on that big run. But that's why you got to have those nice entries. And how good job. That was a great entry on this, where my entry was like, meh.
I took some little trades in that little run up right there on the greens where you were in,
Oh, yeah.
right there. I saw the indecision, but I went ahead and took probably before the drop. I got out. I think I got out on that top red candle.
Oh, yeah, right up there.
Yeah. Well, no, on the yeah, the smaller one. Yeah, got
Okay.
out because I saw weakness, so I went ahead and got out, and then it popped back up, and I was like, well, it's gonna continue going, but it didn't. It came back down
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. And that's what I was about to say. This was like a scalper's position, hopping in there
Mm-hmm.
in the momentum, and I took a scalping entry and held it like it was a breakout, and that's a no-no. If you're gonna hop in a
Mm-hmm.
scalping entry, you gotta have a scalping exit, which means really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So nice job on that trade. How you killed that. I took a pretty small loss on that one.
That was the only one I touched. I was watching that one the whole day.
Nice. Good lesson actually right there. You don't always need to have a bunch of stocks to trade. You can just trade one stock all day if it's got upward momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep getting in and out on the same play as long as it's running. So I was singing the sweet, sweet song of BTBT the last couple of weeks, and then she broke my heart. She broke my heart all week this week. and she did it to me again on Friday. So it gapped up in Friday, consolidated sideways. Cryptos were hot. Cryptos were exploding. They exploded overnight. Bitcoin was like up to 46,000, Ethereum over 3,300, and this started popping. So on the second candle, I thought this was going to keep exploding. So I jumped in for the break of 16 at 1608 in this wick, and then BTBT just dumped on me. This stock, there's some funkiness going on with it because it was running with Bitcoin and all that very well the first 2 weeks, and now it's just been doing weird stuff. But on the daily chart, it still looks good, but it looks like a big downtrend that has to break.
Mm-hmm.
That's about a $30 loss there. PBTS. This one I should have never traded. I broke my rule, got in pre-market. I don't like to trade pre-market. Broke the rules and it punished me.
I tried to tell you, man. I tried to tell you.
Yeah, I got in at 207 there in pre-market, and then I waited for market open to see what it was going to do, and then as soon as it started dumping, I just got out.
To be honest, this I can't say much because this actually looks like that one of the Neuro plays I got into. It looked like it was going to continue going higher. I got in on that little consolidation up there, and that thing dropped.
Yeah, because this was a nice little triangle. If I remove that trend line, this was a nice little triangle of consolidation. It just broke to the downside.
Yeah. Is exactly what happened to me.
I mean,
I
that's
just took a much bigger loss.
Yeah, I mean, that actually is a beautiful bull flag. You got the pole there and the flag. But just breaking down, it's just one of those sideways flags, though. So you never really know with triangles until they break out, especially with the low floats. You know, the higher price stocks, bull flags and triangles and stuff like that will hold up a lot better and usually lead to breakouts. But anytime there's consolidation in low floats, it could turn around on you. We're going to show some other things that happened on Friday correlated.
Give me 1 sec on that PT. What is that? PBTS?
Yeah.
PBTS. It was another one that I had already marked on my list that had a shelf registration on it. So it definitely had some definitely short bias already from the get-go.
Okay, so it had a shelf registration, yeah. So
yeah, for this year.
So the next stock I traded, which we're going to get into shelf registrations, how I was going to talk to you guys about them. So SESN, I think it had expected FDA results. So everybody was thinking this was going to be a drug that was getting FDA approval for some type of cancer treatment, and it was getting hype all day. So I got in 50 shares on the little tick of this candle. This little tail, and it ran up there a little bit, and I kept holding it, but it was feeling real heavy for some reason. So when it dipped right here, I just jumped out of it and locked in that little 11 cents, only like a $5-6 win, but wasn't liking it. And then it just kind of went sideways the rest of the day. And then what happened here, Hal? Tell us what happened, because all of a sudden the candlesticks fell off a cliff. They're way down here, way down here.
So the first thing that happened was the catalyst that they didn't get approval, and then to egg on that motion, they also had a shelf registration for this year as well. So when we talk about shelf registrations, you'll hear me talk about it a whole lot, but shelf registrations basically give the company the ability to sell assets to current investors. So it's a good way for a company to make a lot of money but create a lot of bag holders. So they're taking an asset that doesn't have any value, and once they got that bad news, they're like, oh my gosh, let's sell this at the price that it is now before the investors start selling. See, if the investors were selling, it wouldn't have been this gap down. It would have been like like regular trading on the way down. But with them enacting a shelf registration, there is no trading on the way down. There's a fall off the cliff. And that's what we saw here. Just a bunch of bag holders. This thing dropped from the 604 down to 80 cents, 70 cents.
Yeah, 70 cents was the low.
I mean, what do? It halts. It goes into a halt.
Yeah, once you're in the halt, you can't get out.
Yeah, you can't get out, and it opens up at 70 cents from $6. Think about if you had 100 shares of this,
Or if
or
you,
2,000 shares of it.
yeah,
I mean, you're hurt.
yeah. If you put your whole account on this, you're destroyed. Your trading career is over right here. You're gonna
Hmm.
have to go come up with some more money. Oh, imagine people who got in on leverage on margin. Woo! You could lose your whole life. You could lose your house and everything because they will come after you
Well,
because you'll have to pay all that money back.
that's one thing that I think this little bounce was the covering of institutions, of people that were holding too much leverage on this, and the institutions were like, oh my gosh, we got to get out of this, but they couldn't do anything until it opened as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, bad.
Where can you find those shelf registrations at, Al?
I use a site called BAM SEC, BAMSEC.com, and you type in your ticker name and see if it has any shelf registrations. But there's two different types of shelf registrations you'll see on there. You'll see regular shelf registrations, which usually have a 2-year window for them to be enacted. And so on SESN, it was within that 2-year window. Then you have another type that's called the automatic shelf registration, which can last way longer than 2 years. It could be 5 years, it can be 6 years. Then all of a sudden, boom, the price is going up on a catalyst, and the company's like, okay, we know we're trash, but we are about to make some money and make some bag holders.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
those are the two that you'll see.
they definitely took a lot of people's money, that's for sure. Sure. Where do I find the
On
shelf
the
registration?
prospectus and registrations, you see it as an F3.
Yeah, so there's the
Okay.
shelf registration. They filed this on May 10th, so they basically filed this as a backup plan in case they didn't get the FDA approval. That's what
Exactly.
I'm gonna. That's my.
No, that's exactly what they do. They plan this out, and what they wait for is people to see volume and to see a little bit of an upward trend, and they get to that point where they're like, okay, it's not going any higher. Like, you see how it kind of flat topped here,
Mm-hmm.
where
Right
it's
up there,
like
it's like
right at
six.
this $6.
Yep.
Hey, they were like, well, we hit our sweet spot.
Yep. Yep. They hit the sweet spot and then hit everybody else right in the sweet spot. So if you got caught up in this, that's why you gotta be careful. If you're not a quick day trader and you're more of a swing trader or something like that, go make sure that there's no shelf registrations that can catch you up and get you slammed and destroy your account like this.
Especially if you're swinging. Please check if you're swinging, because you don't want to get in a stock that's $10 and then you wake up in the morning and it's sitting at $3 because they enacted a shelf registration during aftermarket, because they can enact it in any period. It could be pre-market, it can be intraday, it can be aftermarket. So, you got to do your research.
Yeah, yeah. So good lesson for anybody who avoided this and now you're seeing it and you're just maybe wondering what it was. Now you know. Try to avoid those in the future. If you did get caught up in this, if you're going to be in the stock market, in cryptos, in investing and trading, you have to have a backup plan. The same way that they had a backup plan with that shelf registration, as traders and investors, we got to have a backup plan against them in case that happens. And that's your risk management, keeping your stop losses tight. Don't stay into stocks that have shelf registrations. Don't trade against the trends. What's your plan Monday, Hal? What are you looking at? You sticking to the super low floats and sticking on one stock again? It worked out for you Friday.
Yeah, so the thing is, the CVV, I did burn a lot of capital in it. It was a good call. I burned a lot of capital in it, and I was like, well, I'm just going to stick with this one. But I did see a couple other ones that were moving. They were not on my scanner anymore, so I don't remember what they were. But yes, I am sticking to low floats. Yes, I am trading pretty much $10 and down now, so I can size into some of these positions because I know what I'm looking for. The problem is I'm burning too much capital on higher price stocks.
Yeah. GRMV must have been one of those ones you were talking about too. This thing ripped.
No, I
No.
wouldn't have touched that one. That one had a shelf registration as well. I don't trade shelf registration
Oh,
stocks.
and look at there. Looks like they found the sweet spot and big dump
Mm-hmm.
from 20
Yeah.
back down to 16 in a halt.
I
Gap
don't mess with
down.
shelf registration stocks.
So another example
That's
there.
it's like, yeah, I don't really want cancer.
Let's see, PMCB, that made a decent little move. That was 1.5 million shares, ran from 238 up to 442. We'll be back Monday morning, same time as normal, hopefully, if everything is all according to
Oh,
plan.
yeah, I will be a little bit late starting my stream on Monday because Monday I have my business meeting
Oh, yeah,
now.
yeah.
So yeah, but after that I'll be trading.
So yeah, we'll both be back Monday morning at some point for the live stream day trading on both channels. If you haven't yet, go check out Hal's channel, H&H Trader. You can find a link in the description. You can also find a link to it at the end of this video. And come join us. Come join us for the live trading and learning and profit making and profit taking that happens every day. Appreciate everybody joining us as always. Stay safe out there. Until next time.